and today I'm gonna be reviewing all the mainline Pokemon games. So it's actually Alpha Sapphire, Mega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I don't think this. Well, I actually don't know. I haven't played it in like 10 plus years, but this was actually pretty good. It might be better than the regular ones, but it an upper tier good for now because there's a lot of games after Red. Definitely a good game. It's a remake of the Ruby and Sapphire, and obviously it was actually the second 3D game after X and Y, which we'll get into later. Black and White too. I actually did. You should think that it was just like, what's the point of getting this game? Because I thought it was just so you know how Ruby and Sapphire. Then there's Emerald. I thought it was just like that, but it's actually a lot different, and it's actually better than Black and White too. But I didn't play it until 10 plus years later because I thought it was the same thing, and like, there's no point in getting it. But it actually is better than Black and White too. Going in great tier, I'm actually thinking it could go with the top 3 S tier, but I don't know. Actually, I think I might. Yeah, it's going in top 3. Then you have regular Black and White. This is the game. This is my first Pokemon Black with the Reshiram on the cover. This is actually my first Pokemon game I did play. It was Pokemon Black, the one with Reshiram on it. I did choose Tepig. I remember having an end board before I even got to the second gym leader because I didn't know how to get the books and all that. I didn't know how to get past the gym leader. Not because I couldn't beat them, but because it was just I didn't know how to do it. But so I had an end board before the second gym leader. Pretty good game. Then you have this. I think it's blue. Red, blue, and yellow. I did play this like 6 years ago, and it's a pretty good game. It's actually you can get so you have Pikachu as a starter, and then you can get the Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander, all 3 of them in the game. So that's actually interesting. But I did only use Pikachu. Actually, I used any of the other starters. If I did make another playthrough, I probably would choose, or I probably would have of the actual starters and Pikachu. I think that would be very interesting. But I don't think this is better than the Fire Red. If Fire Red Leaf Green had the same option to where you could choose all the other starters, plus that Pikachu, well, you actually can get Pikachu. But you have to. It's not as a guaranteed starter. But I think that in Fire Red Leaf Green, it definitely should have been where you could get all 3 of the starters, just like in the original. And I haven't played this game, but I'm pretty sure it's terrible. I've seen videos. I have played Heart Gold Soul Silver, the same thing, except better graphics, and overall, I just think it's a much better game from what I've seen. Then you have Diamond, Diamond Pearl Platinum. This is actually, I think, my second Pokemon game I played, but pretty good game. If Platinum's on it, then it's probably Platinum's there. So this is good. Goes around, Pokemon Black and White. Then you have Emerald. This is a great game. I like this game. Stars are you have. Same with Emerald. The only thing about Pokemon Black is I don't really like their starters that much. They're kind of mediocre. But Emerald, it has, Blaziken, Swampert. Not really that much of a fan of Sceptile, but those are the Blaziken and Swampert, 2 amazing starters. Can't go wrong with either of them. So in Pokemon Emerald, I just like the game because I just think it's very interesting. Then you have Fire Red Leaf, but it says Fire basically the same thing. So this is actually a pretty good game. I think there's something lacking in the game. It's just I don't really know. I think the legendaries, there's no actual main legendary in the game. I think Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno, I never really was a fan of any of them. But, there's Mewtwo after you get the game, but there's no, main game legendary. I do think that there should be, you should be able to have maybe 2+ starters, and maybe get them at a lower level, I guess, later in the game, but I just think there's something missing in the game. I just can't put my eye on what's missing. But I don't think it's good enough to be in the great tier, like Emerald. Well, definitely not Black and White 2. They have regular Gold or Silver. I haven't played it, but not really that good. Then you have the actual ones. They do with the Heart Gold Soul Silver. This is definitely great. I I can't remember my first playthrough of Soul Silver, but I definitely do like Soul Silver, Heart Gold Soul Silver. Very great game. Then you have Leaf Green, which is, I mean, it's the same thing as Fire Red, but different cover. Then you have, I haven't played this, but it's basically the same thing as this, except modern day version. I'm assuming. Same thing with this, I think. I haven't played this, and this is terrible. I know it's terrible. I'm not Moon, um, Sword Shield. This is the same thing, so I have to play it here. Pearl, same thing. Platinum, greats. Ooh, it could go top 3. I think I'm putting top 3. Yeah, Platinum's probably one of the best Pokemon games ever. It's like Diamond and Pearl, except the negatives of Diamond and Pearl, it's improved. It's just, plus you could get you could get Gardevoir slash, what's the other one? Gallade, I think. Gallade. That, yeah, those are pretty good Pokemon. And there's just a lot more variety of Pokemon you can get, like good, cool Pokemon you can get from previous games, from like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and just overall. It's definitely an improvement from Diamond and Pearl. Because Diamond and Pearl, it was a bit limited, and then Platinum just blew both those games out of the water. Even though it's kind of the same thing, except it's a bit different. It's a bit different, but kind of in kind of a lot, but a little bit, if that makes sense. So yes, Platinum, it actually does go from good to top 3 when Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, all that stuff, right? Then you have this. This is basically the same thing as Blue and Yellow. So it goes in the good tier. Ruby, Sapphire. I think this is basically the same thing as Emerald, isn't it? So I'll probably put this in the great tier. What is this? Silver. Okay, this is the same thing. So what else do you know? Great tier. I think this is a solid list so far. I might have to put Sapphire to get. I'm not sure. Even though they're the same thing, Emerald did better. Put these down in good. Good's kind of getting a little bit crowded, so I might have to put something very good. I think I might put this. These are terrible. I never played these games. Well, maybe they might not be terrible, but I don't really care about them. Oh, what's going on? So Sun, Moon, Sword, Shield. The concept is actually pretty good, but I just don't like the newer Pokemon. Plus, I never played the game, and I think the newer games, I just don't really like them. I guess a negative thing is that they're kind of easy, and like I don't really like the XP share where every Pokemon is just too much. But I do Sun and Moon kind of pretty cool. This looks like, but no, that's more. This is like a top. This these are the top Harco's price, and then rate. To fit. I'm top. Like, leave it like this. not really that many not very good games because I haven't played all, and I'm sure the Sun and Moon Sword Shield they'd be here. They're not very good, but the newer games I haven't really played that much, and X and Y actually is pretty not very good because I actually didn't finish. I only played it until I got after I beat the gym leader, and I was on my way to catch Yelto. That's when I stopped playing it, but it was okay. So it's gonna go not very good because I don't think it's better than like any of these games up here. Then you have Pokemon White, which is basically the same thing as this. So it's going right at yourself. Is that all of them? I think that's all the games. Or if so, then it's pretty much everything. So Sword Shield, and then is there any games I'm forgetting? So yes, Pokemon Black 2, definitely probably the best game ever. The best Pokemon game I should say ever. Pokemon Emerald, top 3. Pokemon Platinum, top 3. Then 4 and 5, you have Heart Gold slash Soul Silver. And you have Ruby Sapphire, very good games, similar to Emerald. Pokemon Black and White aren't as good at Pokemon Black and White 2. It's just so much better because the limited things of Pokemon Black and White is you could only use the Gen 5 Pokemon, which is nothing wrong with Gen 5 Pokemon, but you can't use other generation Pokemon. With Pokemon Black you can get Lucario early on. So it could be a level 5 Lucario, level 7 Lucario, early in the game before the first gym leader. It's very interesting and good because even in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, you couldn't get it until you got the egg from that one guy, and then you had to hatch it, and it was after the 5th gym leader on your way to the 6th gym leader. So that's very interesting how they added that. Plus, you can get married, which evolves into Ampharos, I think it's called. Or I forgot what the fully evolved form is, but it's pretty good. Um, so yeah, Black and White 2 is definitely probably the best Pokemon game ever. And then Emerald is also amazing. Platinum's amazing. Heart Gold, Soul Silver are great. And then Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, I don't even remember how it was going on I was playing. I might have to play it again, but I'm not sure. I do like Ruby Sapphire probably a little bit better, but it's basically the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. But and I will say with the newer games, I do like one thing I will admit I do like is how you don't have to have a Pokemon that HMs play. So you don't have to have a or Barrel to be able to take up a party slot slash wondering how you're gonna like a Flash or Surf, Rock Smash, all these HMs and having Pokemon or teach it to start a Pokemon, all these things. I do like how they added that. You don't have to have a Pokemon that knows HMs. So that's a very interesting and a good thing that they added in the newer games. Fire Red Leaf Green, it's a pretty good game. I just it's something missing in the games. Actually, no. It might actually be not very good because I think the only thing saving it from being terrible, or not terrible, but like below average, is the starters. If they had it like Pokemon Black and White starters in this game, it would be terrible. And that's the thing. Pokemon Black and White, they had terrible starters. It was still suck, but they still are. Like Black and White 2 was the best outside of the starters, and then Fire Red Leaf Green, if they had the Pokemon Black and White starters, it would be probably a top 5, top 10 worst Pokemon game. And then, oh, I'm looking Yellow, pretty good. Um, actually, I didn't play this game, so I'll put them in terrible slash that I played, even though it's basically the same thing. I guess the only bad thing about red, blue, and yellow is the graphics. But again, I do like how they added, or not they added, but I do like how they had. You could have the all 3 starter Pokemon. It's a very cool, interesting concept. I think if Fire Red Leaf Green had that, it would be probably in good to great tier. But they did. They for some reason removed it. It's not really a fan of. Because I remember when I first played, I was like, "Oh, that's very interesting how they added, or not added, but how they had that where you could have all 3 starter Pokemon plus Pikachu." That was very interesting, very cool. But Pokemon Y, this is the game I didn't play Pokemon X. I did play Pokemon Y. This is going to be terrible because I don't like Legendary. I think this one is way better and cooler. Terrible slash never played. Sword and Shield. So I'm not sure. I actually have never played it, but I'm pretty sure it is terrible. I mean, I guess don't judge a book by its cover or knock it until you try it or whatever. But I'm not very interested in playing Sword and Shield. He's Sun and Moon, but I don't like the new generation Pokemon because one, I don't really know much of them. Plus, I don't really care about any of them. Aside from, I have played Pokemon Unite and have kind of like Trevenant has kind of grown on me. I'm not sure if that's an X and Y Pokemon or a Sword Shield Sun and Moon, but it is a pretty cool Pokemon. Fuja, that's a very cool Pokemon as well. But aside from that, and Pokemon Unite Pokemon, then I'm not really that interested in these newer generation games. But what being said, the top three, I think this is a perennial top three for most people. Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon Emerald, Pokemon Platinum. Is that your top three? Or Heart Gold Soul Silver, is that your top five? Because I think that's a top five for most people. I don't think anyone who says after, I guess, X and Y, like Sun and Sword Shield, or the third Pokemon game, you have to be like 15 or something. But, or have to have not played the other games. But aside from that, that's my top three. These games, top five / great, good, not very good, terrible / never played. The newer games like Ultra Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, and these type of games, and Gold and Silver. Which I actually do think that to give more credit to Heart Gold Soul Silver because I don't know. I think Gold and Silver, whenever I see videos of it, it just doesn't look that interesting because the graphics aren't as good as Heart Gold Soul Silver. But I think that it's not too much to the point where it's actually a negative. So I think, yeah, Heart Gold Soul Silver is definitely one of the top 5 games of all time in Pokemon games. So yes, that's been my list. I actually was thinking of doing an AEW list, like a full watch review / just reviewing something similar. Or I might review all AEW World Championship reigns after I make this video. So, yes, let me know in the comments what your top 3 Pokemon games are, or top 5 Pokemon games, or what you think I got wrong, or say you're a huge fan of Sun and Moon. Like, what are you talking about? Sun and Moon is not a terrible game. It's like a top 5 game ever. But it's my list. So that's that. And probably another video, maybe today or tomorrow.